Morning. All right, it's Friday. You made it through your first week. Okay, so a couple things before we get started. Today we're going to talk about your creative speech. First thing is first, the next time we're going to meet is next Friday. Okay, it's on the module that's going to open up on Sunday. It'll say it on there, but just as a reminder, no class till Friday now. You have, I'm trying to think, you just have your quiz one due this week. A couple things I want to say about that. I do go in and check them because I know that it's set by the system, the answers that are on there, and I know some of them come out wrong when they're right. So I always go in and check. And if you see extra added points, that's because, don't worry about it if something's getting marked wrong and it's not, okay? Because I do go in and check them. So you'll see that bump up when I go in there and look at them. Next, for next week, you're going to be doing chapters 3 and 12, the modules in that book. Do we have to redo them? No, that's why I'm saying sometimes, Amelia, it gets marked wrong if you spell something wrong and it's actually right. So that's why I go in and check it and give you the points. Yeah, you'll be doing modules 3 and 12 for next week. And you're going to be working on the creative outline, the speech outline, which we're going to talk about today. So some of the requirements for this first speech, remember, you're going to be taping this one. This one you're not going to be doing live. You're going to be taping and uploading it. It's going to be between 2 minutes and 3 minutes and 15 seconds. All right, so it's not really long. And it's actually giving you, put you in gallery mode. There we go. It's actually going to give you a chance to have fun with something, to have a speech that you can have fun with instead of saying, okay, let me kind of remember. This one should come easier. That's why I like to do this one first, because yes, you are memorizing so that you can make that eye contact and things, but because it's maybe a little bit more on the fun side or more creative side, it's a little bit easier to kind of to go with for the first speech. You're going to have a choice of doing something that's inspirational. It's all on there, so you'll see it when the module opens up, but I'm just kind of running through it. Inspirational, a wedding toast, which we're going to watch an example of today, a eulogy. All right, some people like to do a creative eulogy. It doesn't have to be sad. A lot of eulogies, sometimes we bring up things about people that, make the audience laugh. A demonstration. If you want to demonstrate something, in that case, you probably have to show a little bit of it. If you were going to actually demonstrate something, we're going to see one today of, I think the guy's skateboarding or wakeboarding or something. Tour guide, all right? Some people like to do that. It can be, kind of just that you pretend you were giving somebody a tour of something. Doesn't matter what, anything you like. Yeah, so let's keep it. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4. There's like 6 different choices there. So we'll go with that. If you come up with something else that you think, well, I like to do this, run it by me, throw me an email and say, hey, can I do this instead? All right. What else? The basics of public speaking that we talked about the other day ago. That's what I'm actually going to look for. You're going to start looking at I know it's hard with the camera. You're looking at a camera. Is it really making eye contact? That's why you're going to make drafts of this, which isn't due next week. It's due the following week. So you can kind of practice and say, am I looking at the camera? Does it look like I'm looking at an audience? Not too much movement, but movement enough that you want to stress certain points. Okay, like again, I was doing that rocking the other day ago. I'm very conscious about not doing it today, but things like that is what you want to keep in mind. If there's something that you want to stress with a point, then you can use, head nods or finger gestures, something that's going to make sure it's not taking away from the distraction of the audience. Because if somebody's doing something, you're kind of watching that and not listening, right, to what they're saying. Body, when you're not going to be standing for this speech, most of you look pretty good, but like from here up, okay? Like I know a lot of people just do the, that's all you get is the head. It's kind of hard to judge you with a speech with that. I'm not asking for a full body pose, but make sure most of you right now are pretty good with that about that much that we need to see. Okay, so we can kind of not just see in a face here. Okay. questions about any of that so far? It's going to take some practice though. So today what I want to do is look at a couple speeches. I want to show you the outline. I have an example outline on there of a eulogy that's kind of filled all out. And then I also have the template on there. All you need to do when you start making this outline is you're going to download the template to your computer. It's a Word doc, open it up, just fill it in the way it is. You don't have to start any new outline or anything, just put what you want to say in there. And then you're going to submit it by next Sunday. So you have a long time to kind of figure out what you want to do with this. All right, and you don't have to do the video draft yet. You're just going to start with the outline first. So I want to show you some examples of, I have a maid of honor speech that I found that look good. And I think it's wakeboarding.
Not gonna lie, I'm a little nervous. I'm reading off my phone for podcast. But for those of you who don't know me, I'm Ashley's sister. And just want to say thank you for everyone for coming today. A lot of you came from Eureka and brought the weather with you. Okay, you made it through. So I Googled a lot about these speeches, so I didn't know what to say. And they said start out with a quote. So I think love is best described by Dr. Seuss. You know when you're in love, I gotta read it. You know when you're in love when you can't fall asleep because reality is finally better than your dreams. And Ashley found her reality in Keaton. Being my sister, Ashley and I have a lot of memories together, most of which are too inappropriate to share today. But whether she knows it or not, she's always been a role model to me. And she's proven that patience is the key to happiness. And if one day I can be as happy as she is today, that's good enough for me. So. So I'll share a story with my mom, who dropped Ashley off for her first date at Chico State. And her final advice was stay single and enjoy your questionnaire. She met Keaton that night. So I guess that advice really worked. But I've spent the last 6 years getting to know Keaton. And I want you to know that we love you and we're really excited for you to be part of our family. So if you're ready to back out, I have the car ready. Not only marrying her, but our entire family. So. We're really blessed to have you to be my brother and a part of all of our lives. So I love you guys. Beautiful. Okay, we'll just end it. Love is a friendship that is caught fire. May your love burn bright for years to come. Here's to my best friend and her new best friend.
Okay, so yeah, there's a lot of other stuff going on. People laugh, people, but what did you notice about that speech? Like, what kind of things did you notice that kind of stood out that made you want to pay attention to it? Or what did you notice about the person giving the speech? What did she do first?
She was confident.
She was confident. Mm-hmm. What did she do first? What did she say first to the audience? She said, for those that don't know me, right, my name is Ashley. So the first thing you're going to want to do is introduce yourself to your audience. Don't just go right into a speech. You always want to, no matter which speech we're doing, you want your audience to kind of, from the beginning, have that personable relationship with you. Hi, my name is. Okay, it's nice to be here today. However you want to kind of, I know it's going to seem weird doing it to a camera and whatnot, but just pretend that there's an audience there. Okay, and how would you do? You wouldn't just wake up and say, okay, now I got this. Hi, how are you doing? Kind of, you know, make them feel relaxed, make them feel comfortable, let them know who you are. So start with something like that. What else about her? She introduced herself. What else? Did she just run right through the speech? Okay, what did she do in between things when she wanted the audience to laugh, when she wanted to get serious a little bit? Hey, you know, that welcome to our family. What did she do in between?
She took little pauses.
Yes, little pauses. So you want to work on pauses. Because remember, when we talked the other day ago about speeches being different from essays, that they're written for the ear and not for the eye, right? So we know on that paper, like we said, when you're taking these pauses, because you have gaps in between paragraphs. Here we don't. So you need to take those pauses, take breaths. You're going to see in the outline that I'm going to show you, the sample outline, you even want to put in there, because if you were using that outline in front of you, breathe, pause, because sometimes you don't remember to do that. When you're so nervous and you're standing up and giving a speech, you won't remember to take a breath. You can put that down on the outline. Take a breath, take a pause. It's time to pause here, so that it reminds you as you're going along, okay, I need to slow down a little bit. I need to see what the audience's reaction is going to be. And when they laughed, she stopped. When they knew when to laugh at certain times, because she paused and people started laughing. What else? What else about her eye contact and how she looked down a little bit more than you should, but what she had it on her phone, but she wasn't, other than the quote, she wasn't technically reading off her phone. She would glance down. Yet she probably didn't practice a lot. You're going to practice more so that you just glance down and kind of keep going. But she had the idea of looking down and just kind of, you know, she wasn't. And then she would talk about, okay, I wanted to move on to him next. I wanted to talk about him being in our family and the cars around back. And, you know, I don't think she had that all specifically written down word for word, sentence for sentence, because that's how your outline's going to be, not sentence for sentence, just kind of areas where you want to touch, right? But that's the kind of things that you want to work on with when you're coming up with your outline. Pauses, putting them in there, just small sentences here and there. You don't want a whole bunch of, like, let me write out the whole thing like I'm writing a whole essay, right? That's why we're doing this in outline form and practicing enough when we start practicing it the following week, not next week, that you're taking pauses, that you're looking, that you're actually using that outline. And you might have to add to that outline. That's the thing. That's why you're going to hand in a draft, and I'm going to kind of give you some feedback on it so that you can, you know, work with it when you hand in the regular speech, the final speech. You'll hand in the final outline, because you might have to add places. Are you going to pause here? Are you going to breathe there? Do you want your audience to laugh? Because what I just read sounds like it's supposed to come across as funny or sad, or, you know, whatever it is kind of speech you're going to do. I have another one that is like a demonstration type of speech. Wakeboarding is what it is.
In the Pacific Northwest. What makes this area unique is that you can participate in activities both on land and on water. One of my favorite things to do is wakeboarding, so I'm going to show you how to do it in an easy and simple way. Before I get into the water, I'm going to show you the basic wakeboarding essentials and safety techniques. Which brings us to the life jackets. This first life jacket is very bulky. It's hard for your arms to move, but it is very buoyant. You don't want a life jacket that's too big, because when you're sitting in the water, it'll start to push up and go above your ears, and you won't be able to move your arms or get help. This is a competition life jacket for more advanced wakeboarders. What it does, it lets your arms be very maneuverable on wake-to-wake jumps, because when your arms go around to grab the rope, you want to have free arm space so you can grab the rope and land on the other side. So it's a lot thinner and less buoyant, but if you're more advanced, this is what you use. Next, we come to an important part of wakeboarding in the rope selection. This is a ski rope, and you do not want to use this rope. As you can see, when I push it in, the coils on the rope bulk up and then stretch out again. This is meant for skiing only, because when skiers go really far outside the wake, they want it stretchy so they can whip it in. This is not what you want for wakeboarding. Right here is an actual wakeboarding rope. And if I take the line as you can see, it doesn't bulk up and it's really thin and taut. It's key in wakeboarding to have a line that is really taut and tension, because when you're going across the wake, you want that line tension to pop you up in the air to get high when you're doing your tricks. The most important piece of equipment in wakeboarding is, of course, wakeboard and boots. Personally, I like a wakeboard that is a little smaller and lighter, because when I'm going across the wake and jumping, I can get a lot higher if it's smaller and lighter. As you can see, when I pick it up, I can hold it with one hand, with boots and a board on it. When picking a wakeboard, you want to check the height and weight of your own body, and that will correspond to how big the wakeboard is. I recommend for beginners using a little bit bigger board, because it gives you more stability when you're out there and like gets your feet underneath you. So when you're doing your turns and getting the hang of wakeboarding itself. Most wakeboards are made out of fiberglass and granite, but once you start getting into higher, more advanced wakeboards, they use more fiberglass in it because to make the board a lot lighter. Usually beginner boards are a lot heavier, and as you can see, my board, which I showed, is really light, so it's got a lot of fiberglass in it, which makes it lighter. The edges on the board are really key if you're wanting to get high up when you're jumping. The edges on this one are really, really sharp, so that when I'm cutting into the wake, there's a pop and a lift off, and you can actually feel yourself getting popped up into the air with this firm edge. And I've used a beginner board after using this one, and I could not get nearly as high without using that. So next are the boots. Boots come in two different styles, open-toed and closed-toed. I have closed-toed boots. I prefer them because they are very, very comfortable. They keep the water out, which keeps my feet warm, and they're the exact size shoe that I wear, so it is very comfortable throughout. Rather than the open-toed boot, which allows many different shoe sizes to fit inside of them, and it allows water to get in, which makes your feet really cold. Finally, I would like to discuss boat speed. For beginners, boat speed is usually 12 to 16 miles per hour, which gives the rider a chance to get their feet underneath them and get the hang of wakeboarding itself. Intermediate rider speeds range anywhere from 17 to 23 miles per hour, and advanced 23 miles per hour and up. I prefer 26 miles per hour because on my boat, the wake is at its highest point where the white water isn't splashing over, which basically acts as a ramp. So I can hit that with the edges on my board and jump as high as I can. So after going through all of this stuff, let's get to the actual part and let's go wakeboarding. Once you get in the water, you want to make sure your shins are parallel with the water and your feet are perpendicular so that you have a firm base when you get up. Once you have all the steps down, you're off to a great wakeboarding adventure. Just give the driver a thumbs up and you're off. All right, driver.
Okay. I'm not gonna. All right. So was that a good speech? What do you think? What did you think as you were going through this speech? Just let me get this over with? Or were you like really interested? What do you think? What's your personal opinion there?
I personally was really interested. It reminded me of my Wii days on Wii, doing that little wakeboarding. And then I was like really looking forward to see how he does it and like maybe try it by myself one day.
Okay. But yeah, I mean, the technique that he used was good. But what do you think about the way the speech came across? Did he take pauses? Did he kind of like run things in? What do you think about the way it was presented?
I think it was really rushed.
Rushed, okay.
Yeah, I think he rushed it, and I think like although it was informational, like if I was like going wakeboarding, like it'd be something that it's informational, like it'd be helpful, but to sit there and listen to it, it's kind of like if you were standing there, you'd be like, okay, come on, like move it along.
Good. So it felt rushed. It felt kind of fake. And there was no really expression and tone and up and down kind of pitches. Those are other things that we talked about with those basics of public speaking, that you want to kind of work with tone and pitch and things so that you're not making it all kind of even keel. How about his movements? What did you think about his movements, his hand movements, his gestures, things like that?
I thought they were appropriate for when he made them.
Okay. Okay. Pretty much. Yeah. Because he was showing you, here's this, so that I would say he did pretty good with. But definitely want to work on kind of that tone and pitch. Like Amelia said, you could, this should remind you back. Maybe you even bring something like that up to kind of bring your audience in. Think back to those days. That'd be a kind of creative opening. Think back to those days of well, you can learn how to do this in real life. Let me show you how. Maybe say something like, it's really not that much different, except what? What are we adding this time that you don't have with the we? Amelia, what are you actually adding this time that you don't have with the we?
Actual water. And
Actual water. Yeah. So that could be a way to be creative, and kind of bring somebody into the speech. So think about, the first thing I want you to do is think about what it is that you want to kind of work on. Do you want to do some kind of eulogy? Do you want to do some kind of wedding toast? Do you want to do a tour? Do you want to do something informative? Now, if you do something informative, you're probably going to be standing up doing it. You don't have to do something as complicated as him where you're outside with a wakeboard and everything else. But if you wanted to show something like how to register for a class, or anything, then in that case, you would probably do a screen share and show somebody and walk them through the steps, right? If you wanted to, I don't know, give me an example of something you know how to do that you would want to show somebody else that wouldn't be too complicated. Tracy, how about you?
What about cooking?
Okay, yeah. Even if you wanted to give a speech on here's how you make Pop-Tarts, right? You could, yeah, it doesn't have to be complicated. It's only 2 minutes, 2 to 3 minutes. You don't want to go crazy like I'm going to add that. If you're going to show them how to make chocolate chip cookies, that's going to take you a lot longer than 2 minutes to do, unless you have everything all measured out and say, we're never going to dump this. We're going to dump, but think about first what it is you want to do. Do you want to show somebody how to do something? Do you want to make them laugh? How do you want to, because now remember that whole logic comes into this. Logic, are we doing ethos? Are we doing pathos? Are we doing logos, right? So let me pull up, I have an outline on here of a eulogy.
I have a question.
Uh-huh.
So what if I pick to do something and someone else in class has it? Would that be okay?
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. You don't have to do, because you're doing your own ideas. So here is how you're going to set up this outline. Now this is on there for week 2. As a matter of fact, I think I'm going to open week 2. It's supposed to open on Sunday. I'll open it a day or like when we're done class, so you can kind of start looking at this stuff on here. This is what the outline of a sample eulogy would look like. All right. We are all gathered here today to celebrate the life of Anna Jones. All right. She was loved immensely by her husband, children, grandchildren, and sisters. And this person put in there, breathe, pause. Maybe you want to put your hand gesture in there, or if you want to make some kind of a, motion or something like that, like remember to do it. Like my grandmother had a way of touching hearts of so many, especially mine. Now that's my introduction. I know that I'm moving on to my body paragraph because I have another Roman numeral, and that's how we're going to set this up. What made my grandmother so special was her remarkable personality and loving spirit. And again, I put in there, raise my voice. It's all those little motions or directions that you need should be in this outline. I should see them. At that point, you're expecting to, pause. You're expecting to make sure that you're making that eye contact, that your voice is going up. And then as you can see here, I didn't make a sentence for everything. I made a full sentence of my opening, okay, and my introduction here. But now when I move into my body paragraphs, only my topic sentence is a full sentence. These little things here, that's when you're going to kind of glance down and talk from memory. Okay, so now I'm only putting, for the rest of these body paragraph parts, I'm only putting phrases, strong and nurturing. And here's some examples I want to talk about. She was kind and generous. And here's more examples. So you don't have to write out a full essay here. You're only writing specific sentences, topic sentences, and your introduction. All right, here's my third, which would be my third body paragraph if this was a paper. My grandmother shaped me into the woman I am today. And again, I go right back to doing those phrases. These are specific points I want to talk about. but I don't have them in full form, because if I do that and I get used to doing that, when I start practicing this, it's going to come out like I'm reading a sentence and another sentence and another sentence. It's better to do it this way because it makes you come up with the sentences in your head. Okay, rather than saying I have them on paper here and I'm going to memorize them and they're going to come out like our guy did with the wakeboarding. Okay, it's going to kind of come out monotone and not like it's meaning something to people. All right, last, this conclusion. Full sentence for the very first, just the very first paragraph, the very first sentence rather. As I say goodbye to my mom, I realized how blessed I was to have her by my side for 19 years. I cherish the special memories, moments we shared together forever in my heart. And then maybe you want to end with something that's going to leave memories. So we want to just like leaving the conclusion of a paper. You want to leave something that your audience is going to walk away from and say, I remember that. In this case, this person uses something from Helen Keller, a quote. As Helen Keller once said, what we enjoyed and deeply loved, we can never lose, for all that we love is deeply a part of us. All right. And then she kind of gives herself some ending kind of, how do I want to walk away from this? And then thank you. Always thank your audience too. You always introduce yourself in the beginning and thank them for listening at the end, right? No matter what you do, because they took the time to sit there and listen to you. So that is going to be up there. And then I have your actual template, and I'll pull that up too. This is the template that you're going to download. Okay, you're just going to get rid of the different comments and things like that. We had put comments in here earlier to kind of, this is what you want to do. This is how you can kind of set this up to give you some kind of pointers. You're just going to fill it right in. Okay, you just take away that, fill it right in, save it as your own Word doc, and then you're going to upload it onto Canvas, where I'm going to show you. You'll have until like next Sunday, so you have a little over a week and 2 days to come up with this outline. Okay, so it's not going to be long, and you'll just fill in these different points. Follow that example speech that we just went through as to where do I need specific sentences and where am I just using phrases and words to get me through. Okay, questions? Okay, so as you're going along, all right, if you have questions, just let me know. Is the sound okay as an opening? Remember, you're getting a grade for the draft, but not, it's a very, very small portion of the grade because I'm giving you comments on it. That's what it's meant for. Hey, here's how you can kind of improve it. And you'll probably get something back that looks like that sample outline where on the side, I'm going to put those kind of comments, fix this up, or maybe add this here, or remember to breathe there, that kind of thing. So under module 2, you will see, week 2 rather, which I'll open up soon. You will see something that says creative outline draft. And that's where you will upload it, just like you would upload any assignment. You just upload it to there. Okay. All right. Questions about anything? Okay. Yeah.
I'm sorry.
That's okay.
Are we allowed to maybe add make it a little funny, or do you want it more on the serious side?
No, absolutely. You can make it funny.
Gotcha.
As long as now, if you're going to make it funny, make sure that you know where those funny pause a little bit, because you're assuming that an audience, it's kind of funny when you're doing it on camera, but assume that they're laughing. So pause. That's where you would want to pause, where you want them to laugh.
Okay.
Okay.
Yep. Thank you.
All right. All right. So I will see you all next Friday. Remember that quiz 1 is due by Sunday this week, and then you'll just start thinking about what kind of creative idea you want to do for the outline. Okay. All right. Have a good weekend, and I will see you next Friday.
Have a good weekend.
Okay.
Have a good weekend.
You too.
Thank you.
Thank you.